Here's the story. Johnny the Mad Dragon, who had my mother off by his side. They were four fans, certainly obnoxious, but full of dragon's pride.
Here's the story of the great Jesse Godfrey, with Vicky Coco and Mr. Rob. Never Jesse's crew, so fierce and passionate, and the red V shine true. Till the one day when
Johnny met young Jesse,
and they knew
it was much more than a hunt. That this group would form a fiery podcast. That's how we got the Mad Dragon's Punch. Mad Dragon's Punch. Mad Dragon's Punch. That's the way we became the Mad Dragon's Punch. Come on, Dragons fans! Fire up!
Well, g'day Dragons fans and welcome to the Mad Dragons podcast, brought to you by Complete Warehouse Solutions, a family-owned and operated business with more than 100 years of combined experience. Jeff and his team are more than pleased to assist in your Sydney warehouse refurbishment or fit-out project. Based on Commerce Drive in Lake Illawarra, get in touch with the team on 4257 1930.
G'day, Dragons fans. It's game day. Poor Souths. They've lost Latrell, Shaq, and Murray in a horror week. They've got Schuster looking for other career options. They will come out today and try hard. I know what it's like to lose, to feel so desperately that you're good enough, but fail nonetheless. It's frightening. Turns the legs to jelly. Dread it. Run from it. Destiny arrives all the same. And now it's here. Or should I say, the Dragons are. We are inevitable. Come on, Dragons fans! Fire up!
And fire up they did. The mighty Dragons getting it done. The pre-season is over. We've done what we needed to do. We've beaten the opposition put before us. We set our sights to continuing this momentum into the regular season. There have been some surprises and very few disappointments. Have you seen enough to be sure of what our starting 17 will be for round one, or are there still some question marks in some positions? One bloke that is very questionable is my good mate Matt Hasler, and he's got this. Well, let's find it first. Where are you?
There ain't nothing but heroes and villains, more villains than heroes. What can you tell? What from the next? Can you go down from zero? There ain't nothing but heroes and villains, more villains than heroes. Online jump from the east to the west, black cat born on an infinite chest.
Well, here we go. The first Heroes and Villains of 2025, and what a game to kick it off with. The Charity Shield, where the only charity shown by the Dragons was a brief 10-minute period where they forgot how to play football and let in 3 tries. This game, dead set, had everything. Length of the field tries, bone-crushing tackles, a sin bin, and a couple of records broken, namely the most points scored in a Charity Shield game and the most scored by a Dragons team in the Charity Shield. Now we get to the good part. The performance of Sione Finau, scoring 4 tries and running 10 times for 131 metres with 2 line breaks, really gives Coach Flanagan no choice but to pick him for round 1 against the Bullgrubs. It makes you wonder how many he might have scored if not for an absolute dog shot by Lewis Dodd, the Bunnies' English import replacement for Lachlan Elias, which saw him fail an HIA and be ruled out of the game just after scoring his 4th 4-pointer, with the bunker quite rightly exercising an experimental rule regarding foul play, resulting in a player fouling an HIA and sending Dud to the bin for the first 10 minutes of the second half. So many good performances from a new-look Dragon side, so much so that even putting together a 3-2-1 was difficult, not that we actually had to, which I only found out after the fact, of course. Val Holmes was so good, it had me thinking, Zach Lomax who? Clint Gutherson was as safe as houses under the high ball and was backing up like a real fullback should. Ryan Couchman had immediate impact and was one of our best forwards, and Cookie was actually doing for us what he used to do against us. So let's cut the bullshit and get to it. Sione Finau gets the first hero of 2025 for his monster effort. Now, as far as villains go, I wanted to give it to Adam G, but unfortunately, he didn't really give me any valid reason to do it. So for that reason, I'm going with Lewis Dudd for his absolute dog shit. Back to you, Donnie, in the central missionary position.
Oh, you're done. Sorry, you turned into Robot Man there for a second, and I couldn't hear what you were saying. Oh, fantastic! Great to have Hasman back. Let's have a look at the rest of the panel, because you've heard from Hasman. We'll hear from Scoop and Billy a little bit later. But Rob, your first go on the panel for 2025. How have you seen the Dragons through the 2 trial games so far, mate?
Well, consistent, but inconsistent in the second half against Souths. But certainly we won both games. We won them well. I thought the first half against Souths was a bit of rah-rah rugby league, as in rah-rah rugby union, spreading the ball around. Haven't seen that for a long time with the Dragons. Such free-flowing movement out in the back line and crisp passes as well too. I mean, some unbelievable passes on from Luch and from Holmes. Top skills by those guys, and we saw the finishing, from Finau, and it just looks good. The attack, but still got a couple little question marks made around the defence in the middle. And yeah, the halves weren't as good for us this week as what they were last week. So I'm looking at the halves like I think they've got to play their best football, their top football for us. You know what I mean? For everything to click. But yeah, mate. Yeah, like you said, it's trials, Donny. So round 1's coming up against the Dogs, who suck. Oh, sorry, I said that. The Dogs. So
don't be sorry, mate. Don't be sorry.
Come more to light, I guess, in round 1 when the real footy, happens. So, but interesting times ahead. Couple of weeks to wait, though. Bloody Vegas. As much as I love it, we've got to wait 2 weeks though for us to play.
Yeah, well, to be honest, I think the fact that the halves weren't standout in this game is for me the biggest positive out of the game, because our halves are not fantastic players. Even our coach has admitted that his son is not an elite half; he's an elite competitor. So he's going to be a guy that tries hard, but he's not incredibly skillful, and I think that goes for both our halves. So for us to put on that sort of performance without our halves actually playing well, that's more like what we should expect them to play like each week, because the halves are capable of one out of the box every now and then, but in the standard way we're going to play, it's going to come down to Gutherson and Val and Cookie and guys like that to actually break the game open for us, and that's what happened. So I think it's actually a positive that we played so well with the halves not being as good as they were in that first game. All right, Mad Dragons Vodcast Player of the Year, as has been indicated in his rant. We did have a few of the panel members send through their 3-2-1s, but we're not officially doing Mad Dragons Vodcast Player of the Year. It's a trial game. We're just not doing that yet. But we will go into talking about the moments of the match. You're on the Mad Dragons Vodcast, brought to you by Complete Warehouse Solutions and Scoop. Before the game began, Latrell Mitchell was ruled out for South on a day of big blows for the Bunnies. Did the injuries to the Bunnies weaken their side to the point that it took some shine off the game before it even began?
Yeah, I definitely think it was a big hit to the Bunnies, Johnny. Even to the other one, to their captain Cam Murray, was a huge loss for him. I could potentially see, depending on the outcome, I don't see the Souths making the 8 with the injuries that they've got. And with the live young wild fullback that the Souths had playing against us, I could potentially see him replacing Latrell Mitchell in the fullback position in the coming years.
So Jai Gray, you mean?
Yeah, Jai Gray.
Yeah, he's a good player. He's no Latrell Mitchell, and I was actually surprised by how little involvement he had, particularly when South did have some opportunities to attack. They just didn't seem to get him involved in the game at all. But certainly a few big blows for South, and I think the competition this year is so close that South go from being a team potentially competing for the top 4 to potentially competing for the bottom 4 on the back of a couple of long-term injuries. It is a very, very close NRL competition, and it's not going to take too much to see teams tumble down the ladder. South looking in a bit of trouble. Billy, Jacob Little ruled out a day or two before the game, and Connor Mollison came in. My question is more on Connor. He doesn't have an NRL contract, so cannot play NRL. So what do we do at 14 if Little or Cook are unavailable during the regular season?
If one of them goes down during the season, I think I would like to see maybe Flanagan come off the bench and play a little bit of a 9 role, and I would like to see Like and King Toggy get a bit of a role at 5'8". I'm really intrigued by his capabilities. I think he can be a good player. He's got potential for sure. So I would definitely go with that for sure.
Yep, I disappeared for a bit there. Everyone's having some internet issues. I think the kids are bloody streaming as well, so it sucks up a bit of bandwidth. All right, well, Hasman's disappeared, so he was supposed to get the next question. So I might skip Hasman and go to Rob for this question. So to start the game, the Dragons had about 70% of the ball, but you're putting the tries to one side for a second. Talk us through your thoughts on how the team attacked and brought the ball out of our end.
I thought it was brilliant. Free-flowing, smart play, aggressive play. Pretty much every player on the field was doing their role, their job. And obviously now we've got a very senior fullback who talks from the back. So I thought everything, the carries back from fullback, from wingers, the commitment with everything, mate, in attack and defence, everything just gelled really, really nicely in that first half. I mean, you couldn't really be harsh on any of it, to be honest with you. I thought it was pretty brilliant and exciting for us supporters, mate.
Yeah, absolutely. I was a little bit surprised with the way that we attacked. I thought sort of looking at the side that we might hunt around the middle, look to use our agility and speed through the middle of the field a lot more. But they did the exact opposite. They shifted to the edges early. They looked to use the ball early in sets. It was a really exciting brand of footy, and I think it was a case of Flano, realising that we're a little bit undersized through the middle of the field. So rather than trying to take teams on up through the middle of the park, spreading the ball and hitting the edges and using the pill was our best way of creating some chances, and create some chances they did. I'll stay with you, Rob.
I was going to add to that it was Dragons of old. I mean, I've been watching the Dragons since the 70s, 80s, and 90s. I remember in the 90s we used to play edge forwards. You remember a guy called Scott Goulet? I know it's years ago, but we've obviously got some very dynamic edge forwards, big guys, fantastic centres, and now Finau's proving that he can finish tries for us. So I always thought, shit, what are we going to do? It was the bomb for Lomax type option with Hunt and Lomax, but I think we're proving we can play a bit of razzle-dazzle rugby league and we can finish tries. So, mate, get it out to that back line with the edge forwards running, because we're very dangerous.
You certainly
It's
look
not looking
dangerous
good
in
for
that
Melbourne.
game.
Sorry.
Oh,
They
don't
just
care
have
about
been-
turn it off, lad. We don't care about the other game. We're here doing the review of the Charity Shield, mate.
They had to
Keep
bring the
putting in
ambo
the
out
comments.
onto the field.
Yeah. Oh, Jesus, that's no good.
One
Who's
of
down?
one of their young players got knocked out, I think, and not
Okay.
moving.
Well, I'll go and watch the KO mini tomorrow, because tonight we're focusing on the Dragons and the Charity Shield. I'll stick with you, Rob, because the next question was supposed to be for you in any case. Talking about our start, we had 6 tries in the first half an hour of the game, with Sione Finau scoring 4. Hasman sort of gave his opinion on this already. Has Finau done enough for you to secure one of the 2 wing spots, regardless of who is available for round 1?
Look, I mean, I'm a big Sloane supporter, as you know, Donny. So, I mean, I would have liked Sloane to have had first crack. I mean, I know he's an out-and-out fullback, but I think he deserved a go. But I believe he's coming back from injury. He's probably been underdone with fitness as well. So, I mean, my loyalty lies to CT and Sloane. But I don't know how they're going to do it now. I mean, I'm not too up to date with how you are, Donny, with who plays on what side of the field and all that sort of stuff. But, how could you not select Finau for what he did in this last game if you're picking on current form and obviously fitness? But I just can't see. I'd have to have CT. I thought CT was one of our best last year, so he'd have to be first winger picked, unless I'm completely wrong. I don't know whether he's still injured or whatever, mate. But
Yeah, he's
Well,
injured.
let's stay with that. I'll go to you, Scoop, with the next part of the question. If with Sione Finau seemingly locking up a wing spot, if Christian Tuipulotu is available, I mean, he's injured. That's why he didn't play in the game. But he had a hamstring that he did 3-4 weeks ago. He's got another 2 weeks. Usually, you'd think a bloke would be back from a hamstring injury in that time, so he could be available. If he is available, does he get the other wing spot?
Well, I agree with Rob. He was one of our best last year, Christian Tuipulotu. So that's going to be hard, because both Christian Tuipulotu and Sione Finau are both left-hand winners on the field. So it's going to be hard to decide who stays in the 17 and who drops out, with Matt Finau and Tyrell Sloane could go on the other side of the field. I just don't know what Coach Flano has up his sleeve on him.
No, well, none of us do. That's this is all about opinion, mate. So you've got to get off the fence, take the splinters out of your backside, and have a crack, mate. But I'll go to Billy. Like Liam raised the issue. Is it an issue that both CT and Finau are left wingers, and which one swaps sides, or does Matt Finau get that other wing spot and CT has to come back through New South Wales Cup?
Yeah, that is tough. As old man Scoop said, I think it could be an issue that they're both on the left, but I would like to see them both start. So I don't think Flanagan would be afraid to try one of them on the right side, and I think that CT or Sione wouldn't mind playing anywhere on the wing. So yeah, I think they both do get a start if both are healthy and fit for round 1. Obviously, if CT can't come back, I think Sione Finau and Finai have got that spot covered. Unfortunately for Sloan, even though I like the way he can play, I just think with that foot injury, it might take a couple of games for him to come back. So, yeah.
Well, the other thing I was going to say is, Donny, Sloan could be our 14 coming off the bench. That's what might happen. I'm not sure about what's going to happen with Checkers Earl, but if Sloan is fit and firing, I reckon he's going to be our number 14 coming off the bench. I hate to say it.
What's that, Billy?
Oh, that's interesting. 14. I would like to say what that looks like. 14 off the bench. I still think Little and Cook need to be 9 and 14 because that's very important for our season. So,
yeah. Ian Johnson says, "How can they be fit if they can't run?" I'm not sure who he's talking about there, but yeah. Well, I guess CT has a hamstring, but you can stay fit if you can't run. There are ways that the strength and conditioning guys keep you fit and keep your aerobic fitness up and all that sort of stuff while you're not running. Most guys come back from a hamstring injury and they're good to go straight away. But it's the NRL professional sport. So
I was going to say, Donny, I'll throw in as well too. To be fair, Muzza raised a good point on the messenger that Finau's obviously finishing was fantastic. I mean, I thought it was a coming of age game for Finau. He probably hasn't had the opportunities, limited opportunities and stuff like that. But saying that, obviously there is potential that Sloan can finish like that as well too, to be fair. And Gutho was a big advocate of Tyrell Sloan being on the wing, and Gutho's come out publicly and said that he thinks he'll be a success. And obviously he's been training since the off-season with him. I know he's a Dragons teammate, and they should talk, well of their teammates. But I just thought the support Gutho gave Sloan he was pretty certain he was going to be successful on the wing. So yeah, so maybe I love Sloan, but I've been a harsh critic of him. I just thought he didn't look like Sloan normally looks. But in saying that, it went from a razzle-dazzle first half to a middle who was making mistakes, mate, and missed tackles, and so it's a bit hard, isn't it? And change players.
I'll be honest, mate. I think the problem was exactly the opposite with Tyrell Sloan is that he did look exactly the same as he always looks. Like he always looks like he's just going through the motions and all that sort of stuff. So I think people expected that it was going to be different. He was going to be a completely different player because he's bulked up. He's put on all this weight. All of a sudden, he's going to be knocking players over and running the ball strongly. And he wasn't. He was still Tyrell Sloan. Still has that upright stance when he runs. So they held him up and they dragged him backwards when he ran. That's what I thought. He puts on a few kilos.
My son even said it, and he's a massive, Donny, massive Dragon supporter as well. He thought Tyrell would be running up a lot harder than what he does. Bulked up. Harder. I mean, he's a gym junkie, my son, 17, 18 gym junkie. But, yeah, that's just got me a bit. I thought maybe the wing, I know he's been playing fullback, right? And you can run it up hard there as well. But, yeah, I just thought there might have been that little bit more turbo in him, you know what I mean?
I saw him limping last week at the trial game on the broadcast. I am certain he wasn't 100% for this game. Yeah. So he's still got that foot injury. That might be why he wasn't running it up turbo like you said. But yeah, he was good enough to play, and he got through. He still ran for almost 100 metres in the game, and I thought he went okay. But the other wingers were just better. I think Matt Finai doesn't get enough credit. He did absolutely nothing wrong. I think a lot of people have sort of put a black mark against his name for things he's done in the past, but I think he's done enough to secure the other wing spot.
He's been playing well, mate. He's been playing well.
I tend to agree with Nate Battershaw with regards to Christian Tuipulotu. Was great last year, but it's 2025, not 2024. He'll need to come back through New South Wales Cup as he hasn't been fit. The jobs of it's the great part of finally having some depth at the club. So I 100% agree with Nate. I think even if Christian Tuapolotu is available, he does not come straight back into the team. I think Sione Finau and Matt Finau have done more than enough to secure that wing spot, both wing spots. I think that's done and sorted. And particularly if you have to swap CT to the other side of the field. So he's switching sides. He's coming back from an injury. He's maybe not going to be 100% match fit. I think there's a lot of things counting against him, and I don't think he's quite good enough to demand a spot straight back into the team.
Gives us a bit more pace too, Dominic, out wide as well, with Finai and Theo.
Absolutely. Well, I'll go to Scoop. We'll keep moving through the agenda. Again, Hasman's he's done his heroes and villains, and he's done for the night by the looks of things. He's gone. So Scoop. Yeah, we're talking about Matt Finai. Matt Finai's try. It came from a flick pass from Moses Sully. I just want to ask you: does Sully have a better flick pass than previous Dragons right centres that have attempted flick passes?
He's on mute.
Yeah. We've got it all mute up.
All right. I'm not going to mention his name, but I reckon Moses Sully is a better centre at doing the flick passes than the centre from last year that we've had. So, not centre from the winner that we had last year. That was the return winner, then now came back centre, but he was terrible at it. But I reckon Moses Sully is the better centre at doing the flick passes than the previous junior that we had coming through.
You're trying so hard not to say his name, Liam. Zach Lomax, you're allowed to say it.
I'm trying so hard.
You're allowed to say it. I dumped you in there, mate. I was trying to dump
I'm good, thanks.
but it was supposed to be Hasman's question. But, you get it. I'll give Hasman's next question to Billy. So look out. You never know what it's going to be, Bill. All right. Rob, a brilliant start, but 5 minutes before half-time and 10 minutes after half-time, we conceded 5 tries. Is this evidence of the same lack of consistency through games that plagued the Dragons in 2024, or are we just reading too much into every moment of a trial game?
Oh, look, mate, it's so hard because obviously trials are trials, and I know first round, but it's still a game, and I don't like the inconsistency, Donnie. I don't like the, you know what I mean, that happening. I know that they changed a few players after half time, but it's just frustrating. I mean, that was our biggest problem last season, was inconsistency. And it was a very weak South team, to be fair, and for them to pile on the amount of points they did is extremely, you know, I worry, especially around the middle of that defence. I mean, we got some quality players there who just missed some ranked tackles. And yeah, but again, like you said, mate, it's a trial. I get it, but I hope that doesn't happen in round one. I hope we're sharper and we're much more over the inconsistency from last season. Fingers big, very much crossed, mate. So I hope so.
Yeah. Again, it's. I think it's just past trauma for Dragons fans. We've seen it all too often before, and to see 5 tries in basically 15 minutes, that's a massive concern. And as you say, it wasn't exactly the strongest South team that was out on the park, and we had most of our stars still out on the field during that period of time. So there's definitely something to be concerned about, but not too much. It is still just a trial, and we did get the W. So, all right, we'll turn our attention now to some individuals. Scoop, both halves very good in the first trial, but how do you think they went in this second hit out, mate?
I reckon they did really well, Donnie. I think they were on song yesterday against the South Sydney Rabbitohs. There was nothing really I could fault. It was a lot more free-flowing than what we had last year, with the previous halfback turned back to his home to be more of a dictator that we had during the 8 years that we had him.
You tie yourself in knots, like just constantly trying to not say people's names because you can't help yourself. You can't talk about how good our halves are going and what our halves are doing without referring back to what happened last year. Like, forget about last year. How are these two going right now?
I reckon
forget about that other guy. Like, it doesn't matter what he did last year and how he played. Like, just forget about it. Move on.
I reckon they're the best halves that we got this year than we had in for bloody forever. Then how's that?
Yeah, they're I think we said it before that I don't think were overly impressive. They certainly weren't as good as they were the week before, and we still got the job done. Some defensive question marks, I think. Lachlan earlier, so he didn't miss a lot of tackles, but the ones he missed were quite important. Billy, Emre Gula, 2 trials in. Has he shown enough to suggest he will prove to be a very good signing, or is he just plugging a temporary hole for us?
I think he's been all right. He's done his job. He hasn't done anything really wrong. He runs hard. His defense isn't that bad at all. I think he collected about 123 meters off 12 runs, so that's not bad. And he didn't miss a single tackle yesterday. So, he's very solid all round. But I think if we have a chance to go get a staff front rower, we're definitely going to be in there for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Agree. I think he's been a bit of a breath of fresh air. He's added some size to that pack because that was a big concern for me, was that the lack of size in our pack, and he adds some. We'll talk about Clemmer a little bit later if the rumours around that. But again, if we are able to get him, then again it adds that size that I think we're missing through the middle, and will allow us to play a different style against other teams when we need to. Ibi Osman has put in the comments 2 or 3 times now once the New South Wales Cup scores. They played a trial game. I think it was 6-6 against the Bears, and what was it? It was about I think 16-12. We beat South in a 3-way trial game. So yeah, it was the Dragons basically won overall, but drew with North and beat South. So that's the New South Wales Cup scores for what it's worth. All right, I'll stick with you, Billy. In the 15-minute period where we struggled, a lot of poor defence came from Lachlan Ilias and Jaden Sewer. Is this a combination that scares you a bit with some of that defensive weakness?
Yeah. Look, they had a couple of shocking moments defensively. I think there was that last tackle where Jamie Humphries just ran around both of them, and they missed quite easy tackles. Jai Gray, he's not huge. He's about my size in height, and he just straight through him. So I think it's down to maybe communication. It could be, or not talking with the rest of the team. That side was a bit worrying. I think we conceded 3 or 4 tries off of that side. So I think we've got 2 weeks to fix it. We definitely can. I would also try and. I'm not the coach, obviously, but fifth tackle options, and we haven't been defending fifth tackles amazingly. If we can just fix that before round 1, I'm very optimistic and positive about our season.
Yeah, I think there's certainly a lot of optimism and positivity. After winning both trials, it's been, we actually went pretty close to winning the pre-season challenge. So it was pretty good showing from the Dragons overall. Rob, I know in the group chat you indicated that Ryan Couchman was your man of the match. I think that there are bench spots that are undecided, but has Ryan secured one of them?
Oh, mate, absolutely has to be in the team. I mean, mate, the guy's a lion. He's just so tough. His passion, his pride, he's in everything. Attack, defense, mate. You could not have this guy in the team. I mean, like his brother, they're the future. And mate, honestly, I thought that was a bit of a coming of age game for him too. He stepped up, and mate, He was attacking in attack. He was defending in defence. And just playing hard, mate. Hard, physical. Like you said, Donny, a real Dragons player, bleed red and white. And that's what you want in your team, mate. You're going to go in the wall in the trenches. So, Ryan Couchman, mate, I'm just so impressed with the Couchman boys. I really am, mate. They've got to be in the 17 somehow, every week, mate.
Yeah, Rory McDonald says
too.
Couchman's in for sure, solid as. Liam?
I bloody hope so. They were two of the best forwards out there that could be on the bench or in starting 13. But I think they're definitely a lock in for years to come as their starting front rowers.
Yeah, well,
I don't see Blood coming back in.
I think Toby's got a spot secured there.
I don't see Black Lorry coming back in. Sorry, Donny, but I don't see him coming back
mate,
in.
You say that all the time. You say that all the time, and like most things that you say, you'll get proven wrong eventually. But we'll have to wait. Mohammed Dib says Corey Allen was. They said Corey Allen was really involved in the trial. He scored the first try, backing up. It was actually Cody Ramsey started at fullback, threw a great pass out to Ben Rumble, put him away, and an inside ball to Corey Allen for the first try. He did get a few good things in his return from his knee injury, but I don't think he played in the second half against the Bears. So he only played in that first half against Souths. But good to see him back from his knee reconstruction in his first hit out. We'll talk a little bit more about Corey Allen a bit later on. All right. Hamish Stewart was impressive in the first trial. Did he back that up with another good performance, or did he show that he's a bit away from NRL footy?
I reckon he was really impressive, but I reckon give it half of the year, and then he'll see how he goes. But I reckon he's definitely ready to make his debut by the back end of the season, like what I've had on my predicted 17 for the Dragons. I definitely can see him making his debut at the back end of the season, Donny, if one of our more senior experienced forwards get injured for the year.
Yeah, I think Hamish Stewart was one of the really impressive players in the first trial. I think in this second trial, to me, he showed that he's physically he's just not ready. He got dominated a little bit, and it was when he was on. There was a couple of times he got left laying in the ruck, or caught out of position a few times, and they found spacing around the middle. That was when the Rabbits went on that run, scoring 5 tries. I don't think he's quite ready for NRL footy. A little bit like Dylan Egan last year. There was talk that he was a chance of playing NRL, and in the second trial game again, he sort of got shown up as being not quite physically ready. And I think Hamish Stewart in a similar boat this year. He might need another 12 months in New South Wales Cup. I've got a feeling we're not going to see Hamish Stewart make his NRL debut this year, but I could be surprised because he was very good in that first trial. Billy, 2 blokes that played their first games of 2025 in Tyrell Sloan and Hame Sele. Are they chances of being in the 17, or did they both look short of a gallop?
I think everyone's has a chance. It's been really competitive preseason, and that's really good to see. That we have much more options than we did last year, and I don't know if they do make the side in round 1. To be quite honest, I have no clue at all. But from my opinion, I think that we should just give them some time to get some match fitness into them, and slowly bring them back when they've earned the spot back. Because our bench is looking stronger than last year. Our forward packs look stronger than last year, and our backline depth has been really good from what I've seen in the preseason. So I don't think they come back quite just yet.
Yeah, well, I think it's a difficult one to answer, as you said. I think they were both short of a gallop. I think, as I said, Tyrell Sloan I didn't think was 100% fit in that game. But he will get another 2 weeks to impress at training, and there's been a lot of good things written about him, so he might be a chance. Harmay Sele, I really think that he struggled as well, and again, he was another player that came on, and when our middle third, our starters went off, that was when I think we really lost our dominance. We lost any sort of go forward, and Harmay Sele was a part of that as well. So I thought he was, again, short of where he needs to be, but I don't know what our middle looks like in terms of our rotation on the bench, and Harmay Sele will definitely come into consideration there. So I think they're both a chance. I think Torrelson is less of a chance than Sele, if I'm honest. But yeah, we'll see how we go. Hasman, good to see you back, mate. Sorted out some tech
He's back
issues.
from the dead.
Yeah, the old. I found out tonight what NBN actually stands for. No bloody network.
All right, well, I'll keep you up there, mate. But the last player I want to hear about is Locko Tonga. A bit of press about him in the lead up to the season. From what you've seen, would he be up to making his NRL debut in round 1, or does he need half a season in New South Wales Cup before he can be considered?
I honestly don't think he's ready yet. He almost looked a little bit scared to me yesterday. I think he needs a bit of time now that he's had a bit of sort of top line experience, and I think he just needs to go back to playing New South Wales Cup and sort of try and sort of really build up his confidence, establish a bit of dominance there. And I mean, he may be on the bench come round 1. We don't know. But I don't think he'll play more than half a season worth of games, to be honest.
No,
it's very much a development year for him.
Yeah, I agree. Personally, I still have Locko Tonga at this stage in the 17 for round 1. I think across the 2 games, he made 30 something tackles, only missed 1. Across the 2 games with limited minutes, he ran for 150 metres. So he did his job. He's not going to be a dominant player right from the get-go. He is very young, but I think he did a better job than a lot of our other middle third options. So I would not mind seeing him pick for round 1. I don't think Flanagan will pick him though. I think Flano loves experienced players, and I think he'll go with somebody with a bit more experience.
Clemmer.
Well, again, we don't have Clemmer yet, so we can't really consider him just yet. But yeah, he certainly is the type of guy that would likely take Locko's spot if he did come into calculations. All right, some questions from fans, and Scoop, the first one goes to you. A question from Jag. Do you think Flano was already picked his 17 for round 1, or are there still some calls so close that a player could secure a spot by training well in the next 2 weeks?
I reckon there might be a few changes coming into round 1, but we'll just have to wait and see what old Saint Flano has in mind.
Yeah, well, yeah. I think for the most part, Flano has probably got that decision made, but yeah, we don't know what that is. So I think he probably has already picked the team. I don't think it's going to matter how well people train during the next 2 weeks. I think the fitness of some players might come into consideration as to why, into what he picks for the starting 17. But I think Flano would already know who he wants in his starting 17 for round 1. I think he's already picked it in his head. He just needs all the right players to be fit and available. We did have a question that came through. I'll go to you with this one, Rob. Chris wants to know what was the reason Little was pulled out at the last minute?
You'll have to answer that. I don't know that one, mate. I apologise, but I assume obviously injury. But yeah, you'll have to answer that one. Sorry, Donny.
Yeah, I believe it's a hand injury. From what I've read, it was he had some work on a hand injury, some sort of work on a hand injury, and he's got a staph infection. So have some antibiotics, and you'll be back for round one. He should be.
But can I just throw in that on that last question? Finau and Holmes are forming a great combination that I saw in this last match. And I even saw when Holmes made the break, he was looking for Finau as well too. So they look like they could form a really, really strong combination, centre and winger. So that might be some food for thought moving in the future. That hey, these two guys might, be just that you have to play because they play so well together.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Billy. Another question from Jag. The Bulldogs. They looked pretty average against Brisbane. Do you take any confidence into round one due to the poor showing of the Dogs?
Personally, I don't really look too much into it, mainly because it's a trial match. Obviously, they had most of their starting team on for quite a while. I didn't actually get to watch it too much, but I think by round one, everyone's ready to go. So it's going to be a completely different match to what the preseason looked like for sure. But I definitely take confidence from how we played. If we fix a few things, I'm super confident.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said there, Billy. I think that too many people read far too much into what happens in trials, and I could not care less what other teams did in trials because they're all trying to get out of each game. There's different things that they're trying to work on, different things that they're trying to do, different combinations they're trying to do. So I've heard of coaches that at times will absolutely flog their team in the warm-up and then send them out there to play a trial game to see how they play under fatigue, to get them playing when they're already exhausted against a fresh team. And, silly things like that, because that might be what they're trying to work on before they get into the season. So you don't know what every other team is trying to get out of the trial. So I think it's folly to try and look at how the Bulldogs went against the Broncos in that trial game the other day and take any confidence at all from their performance, their poor performance. I just don't think it matters. Whereas for us, I agree with what Billy said. We take some confidence in that there were combinations that we were working on, combinations we weren't sure of, things that we had question marks over that now, we're a lot more confident in those combinations, in those things that we've been working on are going to be okay for round one. I think a lot of people were very concerned about the better halves and how all that was going to work. And, I think what we've seen in those two games has shown that maybe there's not quite as much to be worried about as we thought.
So, Donnie, answer me this. What do you reckon the Roosters were trying to do? Because they got absolutely flogged by the Knights.
Well, strong team.
Again, I don't know. Who do the Roosters play? Who do the Roosters play in round one? Because I bet you the Roosters come out and win by 40. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what they do.
The only way that happens is if they're playing bloody Tigers or maybe Canberra. Take the Brisbane Broncos, Hasman. Look at the Brisbane Broncos. Really impressive. Everyone's raving about how good the Broncos have been during the trials. They won the preseason challenge last year. They were just as impressive last year in the preseason, and they finished the season in 12th and sacked their coach. So how good or how bad they are in preseason, Matt, means absolutely jack shit. And every year, people read into it and go, well, that team's completely screwed because they sucked in a trial. And then they come out and they win round one. And go, where did that come from? It's like, well, stop watching the trials and trying to judge who's going to be good and who's going to be bad. It doesn't matter.
Actually, I've got one thing for you out of interest, Donnie. I talking about the halves, obviously pleasantly surprised, especially the first game. Flanagan's always been reasonably strong in defence. I'm still concerned. I pick up on Billy. Billy, I'm sure you can hear me, that I'm a bit worried about Lachlan's defence. Should we be covering the middles? The forwards should be covering a bit more for our halfback. You shouldn't be making first-up tackles, right, at the end of the day. So like Billy said, there's some of these defensive things we've got to work out. But yeah, I'm worried for Lachlan Ilias. I just don't know if he's as strong defensively as what Ben Hunt was, and as what
Lachlan Ilias. Ben Hunt is the worst defensive half in the comp. He's terrible. Lachlan Ilias is better than him defensively.
So you think he's
That's
better?
another dollar in the jar.
Okay, well, if you think he's better, that's good news then. But yeah, I was just a bit concerned. So is that the middle? Is that some of our forwards just being lazy and not coming across and covering?
Well, Jaden Sewer missed exactly the same tackles, mate. So yeah. It was more a combination of both those two coming up to with some issues.
It's just clumsy.
Yeah, well, again, it's a trial game. It's going to be a different intensity. I thought Lachlan Ilias, he came up with some dead set try savers as well. So he did some great defensive plays in that first trial. I think it was De La Salvaja that he stopped 1-on-1 right on our try line to prevent a try in that first trial. And he only missed, 2 or 3 tackles in this game. I know they led to tries.
Made me more confident in me, so I'm happy with that because I know you analysed the game very closely, so that's good news.
Yeah. Again, Ben Hunt missed more tackles than just about anybody, so he's not a good defender. He's one of the most frustrating defensive halves I've ever seen, where he'll make great tackles and then he'll miss easy ones, and you're like, how do you do that?
Yeah.
Yeah. All good. All right. Moving on to some lower grade stuff. You're on the Mad Dragons podcast, brought to you by Complete Warehouse Solutions. Lower grades, the review preview will be their own separate mini shows through the week, so stay tuned for that. But our juniors did win 7 from 10 games this weekend with some absolute cracking wins. I also watched the Jersey Flegg and New South Wales Cup trials, and some good signs in both. Again, it's only trials, but and not all of those players are going to be playing in those competitions, but some good signs in all of those games.
When does the New South Wales Cup comp kicks off, Donny?
It runs at exactly the same time as the NRL, mate.
Oh, okay.
So New South Wales Cup and Jersey Flegg, they play exactly the same length season as the NRL.
All right, just want to ask.
Yep. All right. Well, Scoop, you are one of the biggest consumers of social media, and the Dragons social media team, they've over the last few years, they have copped a fair bit of criticism, but how would you rate the work of our media team through the off-season so far?
So you mean the Mad Dragons media team or the actual Dragons cooperation media team, Donny?
The St. George Illawarra Dragons media team, mate.
Okay, just wanted to clarify.
Man, we're fucking awesome. So we all know that. We don't need you to tell us.
Sorry. I think our media team for the Dragons have pretty much gone really pulling downhill. We're pretty much the laughing stock of the competition for media teams, to be honest, at the moment. Donny, correct me if I'm wrong.
Really? I would say that is normally true, but during this off-season, I think our social media game has been on point. Some of the stories that have come out, the way that it's all been put together, I think Chris Kennedy and his team have done an absolutely fantastic job during this off-season. Rob, you sent me one of the stories narrated by Matt Nable that the media team put together, and you thought that was really inspiring and something that was brilliantly put together.
Mate, I just enjoy the history of the club. I see us, obviously we're merged. I see us as the Dragons. I just thought it was a lovely piece with our new, obviously, merger, combined teams, St. George and Illawarra. And I thought it was a great piece. It inspired me as a supporter since the 70s, early 70s, to, support the team. So I just thought it was a great piece. I mean, look, Donny, if you were the bloody voiceover, it probably would be a little bit better than Matt Nable, but hey, can't have everything.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, I mean, we all know Matt Nable is just Donny Bell from Wish, so
Donny Bell in cross-dressing outfit. What do you reckon?
Well, Rory McDonald said he loved the mascot post again. That was really funny the way that they sort of put that together, and ran out of puff after doing one revolution of the beak test. And there's been stories about the cultural day that the Dragons had, where Finau Latu's family put together a cultural feast, and just been a whole heap of other things that the team have done. That everything they've done, I think, has been on point.
Jesse Godfrey being the number one supporter in the Aura, close with Big T, of course, being number one as well too. You sure he wasn't in that suit running around, mate, in disguise? The Happy Dragon? Because I know how much he loves it. He's got number plates as the Dragon, so I just need to find out. Was that Jesse in disguise in that bloody dragon suit? Because he loves the
I would not
dragons?
be surprised.
He's not that quick.
I think Jesse would love to have been in the scorched suit, but because the legs were so skinny, I think it was probably more likely Liam.
No, I don't. It takes me it's going to take me like an hour or two to get down there and back, Donny. So no, that's definitely not me. Are you sure it's not one of your? Are you sure it's not one of your kids has, man?
Well, it could be if I had any, but
It's your age, Hasman.
it couldn't have bloody been Jesse. He's not even that quick.
I'm quicker than Jesse.
I've seen him run. He's bloody slower than I am.
I'm quicker than
It's not
Jesse.
easy.
Well, Jesse's put Billy in it. It's Billy in the suit.
Me.
Yeah, I think Billy.
100%.
I'm definitely too
I
short
think
to be the mascot.
Billy's
I'm
giving it
definitely
away
too-
now.
I'm
Well,
definitely too
Hazman-
short to be the mascot.
Hasman, we've had a few questions about this, but Fox indicated during the broadcast that David Clemmer to the Dragons was all but a done deal. What are your thoughts on the signing if it does happen?
Well, that basically says to me that if it does happen, that Molo is 100% gone. Which the way he's cracking on, I think he probably should be anyway. But no, I think it's a pretty much a sideways movement. Clemmer for Molo. It'll be a good mentor for the younger guys. One probably worth pointing out though that Clemmer's actually a lot bigger than what he actually looks. I think he's like 6'6" and about 115, 116 kilos. So he's definitely got Molo covered for that. But
616, Hasman, you're right.
I was going to say, guys.
In a week, but no, it's a good signing if we can. I think if we can get it, it'll be really good impact off the bench.
I was
And a
going
good
to say,
mentor
guys.
for Poco Tonga as well.
I was going to say, guys. David Clem reminds me of, what was his name? Russell Packer, back in the days.
Russell Packer, jeez.
Wow, gone
Bit of
back in the
mongrel.
books there, mate.
Bit of mongrel.
Forget it. That's the age of yours. The experience and age. Father time's not catching up to you at all.
Well, I am
Oh,
only
well.
23, so
Oh, Jesus, you're an old man to Billy, mate. You're an old man to Billy.
definitely.
All right, Billy, in order for the Clemmer signing to happen, we need to free up a top 30 spot, and Frank Molo told he's free to talk to other clubs. The Dragons have added some conditions to his release. Will they relent to make the Clemmer deal happen, or will the club stand firm on what they need to get in order to let Frank leave?
I think if we get rid of him to a club, we should get something in return. He's breaking his contract, and he re-signed about 6 months ago. So, I think Dragons should get their compensation out of it. Whether it's from the same club or not, I don't know. But if we get Clemmer, I won't mind because, his size for a forward is kind of what we need. We've been missing it for a while. He offers us 235 games of NRL experience. I don't think we should reject that at all. I think we should bring him on board, and you know, obviously he's played for his fair share of clubs, so he'll have his experiences of what it's like to be in a winning team. I don't know if he played in the 2014 grand final or not, but, you know, he was there when the Dogs were doing all right. So I think if we get Clemmer out of it, I'm not too mad. I think he's actually probably better for us than what Molo has been, because Molo gets a bit lazy sometimes, throws out some sloppy tackles, gets suspended. So, you know, I don't mind if we get Clemmer at all.
I really hope so too.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of people that, again, it's always an issue. I think when you get an experienced player that once upon a time was, Clemmer was a fantastic player, and people expect him to be that player when he comes to our club. He's not going to be that player, but I think he can come in and play a role. He can come in and provide impact off the bench. He can use that experience and pass that on to all these crop of great young middle forwards we've got coming through our system. I think he brings a fair bit to the club. So I certainly wouldn't mind seeing him there, and he adds some much needed size and depth to our middle and makes us a better team. I think he just makes us a better team straight away. Yeah, sure. Ian Johnson saying Molo got a huge payment in advance to help him out, and the Dragons have asked him to pay that back. Obviously Molo's spent that money already, so he doesn't think he should have to pay it back, even though he's not making good on his contract. So I don't know how Molo is going to win that battle legally, but again, I don't know. Do the Dragons just let stuff like that go in order to make sure the Clemmer signing happens? How much are you willing to?
At this point, you just give him what he wants, so you can get rid of him.
Yeah.
He's not. It's going to be like a bloody cunt situation. If he sticks around, he is absolutely just. He's not going to be anywhere near what he's capable of doing. If he wants to go, learn from your mistakes, and just fucking let him go.
Because half the players that we've got pretty much throwing the twigs it.
Regardless of we get Clemmer or not, we've got to get. If Molo wants to go, let him.
I agree with Hasman.
I agree with Hasman.
Out to sea at Wollongong. Piss him off and get rid of him. God's sake. You don't want to play. Piss off.
Yeah. Yeah, I tend to agree. I don't want to see this drag out. I think a lot of these other ones have dragged out. Mama Dib saying it's good to see the club showing some backbone with regards to player contracts and
I was going to say, Donnie,
and try and get something for it. And I think you cut your losses and walk away. Like just
100%.
I just know. I just picked up on something.
We paid him money in advance. That was our choice. We made that choice to pay him in advance. If he's not going to pay it back, if that's going to hold up getting rid of him, then just assume that money's gone and move on. Liam?
Donnie, I just picked up on this. This is the second consecutive Queensland player, because he did play for Queensland, I remembered. This is the second consecutive Queensland player in, let me guess, 2 to 3 years that wants out from the Dragons. Why is it always the goddamn fucking Queenslander players that wants out from the Dragons?
All right. Well, we should get rid of Jaden Sewer as well. You reckon?
Yeah.
No, I'm not saying Jaden Sewer. I just
Bill Holmes.
He's a Queensland player, mate. You want to get rid of all the Queensland players? He's one of them.
Yeah.
Val Holmes gone.
Yeah, Holmes, you can't keep your goal.
We don't need Val Holmes anymore. He's from Queensland. Not good enough.
No, I'm just saying it in perspective.
Let's put Matt Feeney in the centres. We'll be right.
I'm just saying in perspective, this is the second Queensland player. Holmes and Sewer, I know, are pretty much the two best players that we've got, and they don't whinge or argue against the coaching staff or the coach.
Oh, not yet. Since they heard you bad-mouthing Queenslanders, mate, they'll want out too.
Hey, Big T, find out where you live.
Yeah, I think we should, based on that, I think we should get rid of Big T.
Oh, not Big T. Scoop in the sin bin. He's gone. Big T.
I'll become the second oldest Hasman.
Scoop's in the sin bin. Hasman might be sent off.
He's based on that, I've got to be looking at 6 weeks for that.
Me 3 weeks.
He knows where you live.
No, you don't, Big T.
He'll find you.
He might have to worry about the Category 1 HIA too.
Yeah. That's it. Scoop the new orange peeler. All right. Well, Rob, some forced and unforced change. We'll talk about the players that missed this trial game. Starting with Tom Eisenhuth, missed this game with a concussion suffered at training and will be available for round 1. Do you think he comes straight into the 17 for the game against the Bulldogs despite not playing any trials?
I'm being very biased, but I don't rate Tom Eisenhuth in this current squad of our best 17. I'm Couchman. So give me Ryan Couchman any of the day ahead of Eisenhuth. So that's a simple answer for you, Donny. Couchman for Eisenhuth.
That's a
Yeah, I
big
agree.
big no for Tommy Eisenhuth. He was a big part of our starting side for a lot of last year. But
Not saying I
agree.
like the guy, but just no way. Not this year.
Yeah, I agree with you, Rob, and I think
Yeah,
Liam does
same.
too. But I think Tommy Eisenhuth, he's a decent enough defender, but I think the Couchman boys are actually better than Eisenhuth defensively, and they offer a hell of a lot more than he does in attack. So it's a big no for me on Tom Eisenhuth. But I think he is liked by Shane Flanagan, and I think he does come into calculations, but I wouldn't be picking him.
Yeah, I
That's
wouldn't be picking
Scoop.
him either.
Scoop, you get your own questions. You can talk on your own ones. All right, Corey Allen had his first hit out in New South Wales Cup trial today. While he might not be looked at for round 1, do you think he's the kind of guy that could push for a spot in weeks to come?
I'm going to say no on this one, Donny. I think our backline's pretty good with Clint Gulson at fullback. First, maybe Sione for now is definitely a lock. Van Holmes and Moses Sully are definitely a lock. On the other wing, I'm not too sure. I don't think Corey Allen will be able to crack first grade at all during the back end of it. Like, how old is he now? Late 20s, early 30s? I don't see him making
I don't think he's that
cracking the
old.
first
Corey
grade.
Allen.
He's 26.
I don't see him cracking back into the first grade in the late stage of his career, Donny.
He's only 20. He's only 26. Scoop.
But you also got to count on injuries in that. But he had hamstring issues. He tore his ACL last year.
Off Allen, jeepers, right off all these players.
Well, you can tell you're 23, mate. You're writing off a 26-year-old as being too bloody old. Like, that's crazy talk.
Donny,
Absolutely.
give our juniors a go. Give the young fellas a go. Just blood them in. For goodness sakes. We need.
You've got a 26-year-old former Origin player that's just coming back from a knee reconstruction.
I'm done with injuries.
He's not past his prime. He's bang in the middle of his prime. The 26. He's got 10 fucking years of footy in front of him. Yeah.
Give the young bloody kids a go.
26. What's happening?
Give the young bloody kids a go. Like Sione Finau.
Like Mika Ravalawa, you reckon, mate?
Screw Ravalawa. I don't see him coming back.
Young Mika.
Who else do we have? We've got Hayden Buchanan. We've got Benjamin Johnson. Give the bloody young kids a go.
Benjamin Johnson played against us for the Roosters.
Oh, shit. I mean, Benjamin Rumble. Give the young kids a go. Screw the old ones. Just bloody juniors. Do like what Penrith does.
I don't think they're physically ready. So.
Yeah. I saw that too, Billy.
Yeah, I think Corey Allen. I wouldn't have him in the team to start the season, but to say that he's absolutely no chance, I think is insanity. He had his first hit out after 12 months out. Flano signed him to a 2-year deal or an extra year deal for a reason. He's got a lot of faith in Corey Allen, what he brings, and that experience. I think could see him get an opportunity later in the season. If he's playing good enough, then he should get picked. I think anybody that's playing good enough should get picked. It shouldn't matter whether they're a young bloke or they're past their prime at 26. Has been Christian Tuipulotu. He's no guarantee to be available with his hamstring injury, but if he is available, is he an automatic NRL selection? Or will he need to earn that spot via New South Wales Cup?
Is he an automatic selection? Look, the way that Sione Finau played yesterday, no, I don't think he's automatic at all. I mean, I know you don't like to put too much stock in trial games, but I mean, A, he's not going to be match fit by round one anyway. And B, I mean, the way Finau played yesterday, how can you drop him just because, you got a guy who's usually there that you're going to bring back in? Like, how can you drop Finau after the two games that he's had?
Yeah.
What did he do wrong? What has he done to deserve being dropped? You
Nothing.
tell me that.
Nothing. I agree with you. We've most of us have sort of spoken about this a bit already, and I think some of us definitely think CT is an automatic selection that he comes back in, but a lot of people are saying Finau and Tuipulotu, but they both play on the same side of the field, which one of them would have to swap sides, so that creates another issue that the Dragons haven't handled all that well with people swapping sides in the last couple of seasons. It's basically ruined Mika Ravalawa, and it didn't help our former centre/winger too much either. So
you can put Ravalawa in the bloody second row; it wouldn't matter.
Yeah, I think.
But what I liked is that break Holmes made, and he was going as quick as he could. He's still got some pace. And he's looked to his side, and there's Finau. You know what I mean? So it's a great combination that's forming there. So
I mean, if he's going to make breaks like
he
that,
scored some tries.
Mate, I was screaming at Val Holmes to give it to Finau about 25 metres before he did.
Still scored.
Yeah, I know, but if you give it to him a bit earlier, he probably maybe brings it around under the post. But maybe Val just wanted another kick from the sideline. He loves them.
I thought he was playing NFL again, don't he?
He thought he was a younger man, as Muhammad Dib points out. Corey Allen is younger than Holmes, so maybe we should drop Holmes because he's too old as well.
29 years old, bloody hell!
All good. Where are we up to, Billy? Blake Laurie, he hasn't got any trials under his belt, but was reportedly training the house down before his injury. Is there any chance he comes straight into the 17 if he's available?
why didn't you give me this, you bastard?
No, of course. He's looking fit.
Yeah. All right, moving on. Done. Lock him in. Nobody else gets to talk on that matter.
Hang on, he's probably a little bit old too by Scoop standards, isn't he?
No, I mean, what are you really thinking?
Well, I do think he's a chance for sure. No, you can't count him out. He's got 148 games of NRL experience. Why would you count him out? Yeah, his season last year was not great. But it's not 2024 anymore, and he could be a completely different player. And from what I've heard, no excuses, obviously. It's a cop-out if I'm making excuses for him. But, he carried a rib cartilage injury, and I think that's what happened again. So I'm hoping that doesn't actually affect him at all this year. But he might just have to look out for that. But otherwise, if he's fit and ready to go, I don't see why Flanagan wouldn't pick him. He's shown faith in Blake Laurie before when he was down in the dumps last year. So if he's looking good,
Yeah, I think it's tough to pick blokes that haven't been fit enough to play in any of the trials. You've got to think they're going to be a little underdone, given that there's a lot of players that have put their hand up. I think he might need to come back through lower grades, but I wouldn't write Blake Laurie off as being a chance to come back into the team at some stage. Again, the Clemmer signing might change some things in terms of the depth that we've got there, but at the moment, I'm not 100% sold on our middle third rotation, the players that we've got coming from the bench. I think that there's spots there that are still there for the taking if players are playing well in lower grades. Rob, other players unavailable for that trial were Lycon King Togia, Viliami Fafita, and Ben Murdoch-Masilla. Any thoughts on their chances of first grade footy in 2025? Because they definitely won't be considered for round one.
I think Ben Murdoch-Masilla is going to be more a reserve grade player, mentor. If any of our players get injured in key positions, obviously he definitely can back up for us. LKT is interesting. I mean, a bit of X factor about him. So there was a little bit of talk before about 14 with Little and Cook. Obviously, that's the natural selection. But I could also see LKT maybe also coming on at some stage in the team, a particular given game, to be able to throw it into the mix. But certainly as a backup for our halves. And sorry, Donnie, who was the other player?
Viliami Fafita.
Viliami Fafita, yeah, mate. I'm not sold on him, mate. To be honest with you, I thought he would come on, but I just don't think he's come on well enough. And I think we're talking props. I mean, Loco to me is head above, and if not the rest. So I don't know. I think Billy. I think he'll be in reserve grade, mate. I just think, and obviously if Clem is coming as well too. I'm not sold on Selle, to be honest with you. You're talking about Blake before. I still have Blake Laurie ahead of Selle. But I just think, with Billy, there's just too many players. Donnie, you said before, I think there's actually competition for our spots now in different positions. So, which is a great thing to see, to be honest with you. We probably haven't had that for a long time. Hook went and got his ex-Broncos, old boys. But now we've actually got some genuine competition amongst the positions. So,
well, it's interesting you say that, Rob, because I think there is certainly some positions where there's a lot of competition. So we've got a lot of middle forwards that are they're okay. Maybe we could use them, or maybe we could use this bloke, or maybe we could use that bloke, and they're all kind of on that same level and competing with each other. And competition usually brings out the best performance in players. But in some other positions, like you said, that the halves, there's not a lot of competition for spots in the halves.
No.
I'm concerned if something happens to one of our centres, we don't have another specialist centre in the squad at all. So that's even in these trials, Dylan Egan was the guy that came off the bench and played in the centres. So he was the guy that actually came on and played out wide, out of position as a second rower, because we've got Hayden Buchanan, who's not eligible until round 11. So there's certainly some positions where there's a lot of competition for spots, but there's also some others where there's none. So, it's interesting. We need to stay fit in all the right areas. All right, that's a wrap. I reckon that's a wrap. We might call it a night there. Wrap for the Charity Shield review. The next time you see us will be Saturday, the 1st of March from 6:30 p.m. as we review the upcoming NRL season. Tune into that one and get everyone's thoughts on all 17 NRL teams the day before, 10 hours of rugby league action in Las Vegas. Then we're into the 2025 NRL season with a massive round 1 clash at home against the Bulldogs. Come on, Dragons fans.
Fire up!
Coco is at Pound's heart, she wears it on her sleeve. As Muzzy tells tales of dragons, wins and tune and victory. Tony and the MP crew will do their very best. Getting off topic and I digress with a red V on our chest. The Mad Dragon podcast is a sheep of camaraderie, navigating rants down rabbit holes in the land of big wet feet. And so our peddlers speak the tales and our pursuit is our dream. The Mad Dragon podcast, funded by our team.